In 1588, the greatest naval fleet the world had ever seen set sail from Spain. It was a mission blessed by God, backed by an empire, and aimed to crush a rebellious island nation, England. But what unfolded was not a glorious triumph. It was a disaster of epic proportions. This is the dramatic rise and fall of the Spanish Armada and the moment history turned at sea. The late 1500s were a time of religious and political chaos in Europe. Spain under King Philip II was the world's most powerful empire, wealthy from colonies in the Americas and fiercely Catholic. England, on the other hand, was ruled by Protestant Queen Elizabeth I, a thorn in Philip's side. She had supported Dutch rebels, sanctioned attacks on Spanish ships, and even executed Philip's ally, Mary, Queen of Scots. For Philip, the time had come. He would invade England, depose Elizabeth, and restore Catholic rule. Philip's plan was bold: send 130 ships from Spain to the English Channel, link up with a Spanish army in the Netherlands, and launch a full-scale invasion. The fleet would be known as the Invincible Armada. It was massive, 30,000 men, over 2,400 cannons, and ships stretching as far as the eye could see. But from the start, the mission was plagued with problems: bad weather, poor communication, and logistical nightmares. Still, in May 1588, the Armada set sail, believing divine favor would carry them to victory. England was outmatched. Its navy was smaller and less experienced, but it had two major advantages: faster, more maneuverable ships, and brilliant leadership. Sir Francis Drake and Lord Charles Howard commanded the English fleet. They knew they couldn't face the Armada head-on in traditional battle. Instead, they would use speed, firepower, and cunning. As the Armada approached the English Channel, England lit beacons across the coast, rallying every available ship and sailor. The showdown was near. In late July, the Armada sailed into the Channel. The English attacked swiftly, darting in and out with small ships, bombarding the Spanish from a distance. The heavier Spanish galleons struggled to respond. Still, the Armada held its crescent formation, strong, disciplined, and moving toward the Netherlands. But when the fleet anchored at Calais to rendezvous with the Spanish army, the English struck a devastating blow. They sent in fire ships, vessels set ablaze and driven toward the Armada. The Spanish panicked. In the chaos, they broke formation, and that's when the English pounced. August 8, 1588, the decisive moment. Off the coast of Gravelines, the English launched a full assault. Their cannons pounded the Spanish ships, which couldn't regroup or counterattack effectively. The sea turned red with fire and wreckage. Though only a handful of Spanish ships were sunk, the Armada was shattered in spirit. Unable to regroup or link with the army, the Armada had one choice: retreat north, around Scotland and Ireland, back to Spain. The retreat was a nightmare. Storms battered the ships off the Irish coast. Many crashed and were lost. Starvation and disease ran rampant. Of the original 130 ships, fewer than 70 limped home. Thousands of sailors were dead. The Invincible Armada had been utterly humiliated, not by a superior navy, but by English resilience, brilliant tactics, and the fury of the sea. Philip II refused to admit defeat. "I sent my ships to fight against men," he said, "not against the winds and waves." The defeat of the Armada was a turning point in history. Spain's naval dominance was shaken, and England's confidence soared. Queen Elizabeth, once seen as a weak ruler, became the symbol of defiance and victory. The myth of English sea power was born. It was not the end of Spain's empire, but it marked the rise of England as a global maritime force, one that would dominate oceans for centuries to come. The Spanish Armada wasn't just a battle, it was the clash of empires, faiths, and ambitions. And in the swirling winds of the English Channel, history was rewritten forever. If you enjoyed this dive into the Battle of the Spanish Armada, don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the bell so you never miss a moment of history. This is nothing but history, where the past lives on.